Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Civil Inch TS. With the new video, I discussed a surface related topic in the previous video. In this video, I will teach grading line and features related topics. Hope so this video will play a better part in your professional journey. So let's get started. So these are the topics for this video. First of all, what is the feature line? Feature lines are 3D objects which can be used as grading footprint, surface break lines, and as corridor baseline. It is like a 3D object, same like a 3D polyline. The second one is creating feature line. How to create feature lines in Civil 3D using different method including manually drawings, converting objects, and using alignment data. The third one, editing feature lines. Demonstration on editing and multiple feature lines to match specific design requirement and alignments. Number 4, feature line styles and labels. How to apply styles labels to feature lines to better visualization and communicate design intent. Number 5, how to incorporate feature lines into grading design to create complex surface models. Number 6, grading design. Using Civil 3D tool to create grading design based on surface data. Number 7, surface analysis and volume calculation. How to analyze surfaces, calculate cut and fill volume, and perform earthwork calculation. Number 8, surface analysis tool. Exploring different analysis tools available in the Civil 3D for slope analysis, contour analysis, and more. So let's get started in the Civil 3D. First of all, how to create the feature line. In the ribbon bar, here we can see a option feature line. When we click here, we have multiple options. So the first one is create feature line. Click here. This window will be pop up. From here we can select the site. So from here we can create the new site also. So we can give none also. Without site I need this one. Feature line name. From here we can give the feature line name also. For example F. So this is the formula of the numbering. The numbering will change automatically. For example F1. The second line will be F2. Something like that. So from here we can change the style of this numbering. This is the style of the numbering. I will go later on in this detail. Okay. I'm keeping as a default this one. Style, the feature line style, these are the styles available which we have in the Civil 3D. This one is the basic feature line option. Okay, I can create a new, I can create a copy, similar like other styles. I'm creating new, for example. Here I can give the style name, for example, F. The next one is profile. How the object will look like in the profile. In the profile, you can change three styles of the feature lines: the beginning vertex, the internal vertex, and the ending vertex styles. So we can change these styles as per our requirement. And from here, how the object will look like in the cross section. From here, we can change the style. And this is the feature line display. We can change from here the layers, scales, etc. I will go in more detail in the future videos in these options. This time I'm keeping the basic line, so I'm gonna cancel this. I'm keeping as a default this one. We can give the separate name to this feature line, but I'm keeping as a default. From here we can change the style. Okay. Use current layer. If I want the feature line should be in the current layer, so I have to use this option. So the Civil 3D will not create the new layer for the feature line. The feature line will be in the current layer. For example, here I have the layer 0, so the feature line will be in the 0 layer. But as we have default this layer, I am keeping the same. I am not using the current layer. Okay, starting point. Specify starting point. For example, I need this should be my starting point. So now the next is asking from me the elevation. Okay, either I will give the elevation 1.1, enter. Okay, or I can keep it 0. Later on I can change. In this case, I am keeping click here. I am giving the elevation 1. For the next point, so 1.5. Here I am keeping 0. Enter. Feature line has been created like this. So I am creating another one. I'm keeping the site group as a feature line. Okay. Starting point elevation I'm giving 1.1. Enter. It is asking from me, should you need arc or line? In this case, I am showing to you how to create the arc of the feature line. Direction. I am giving this direction. Either I have to give the length or I have to click here like this. So our feature line has been created in the arc shape. So the next is asking from me the elevation of this point. Okay, enter 0. Okay, now again the arc, but I don't want arc now. I need the line. Click here in the line. So the next point I need to click here. I'm giving the elevation 0. Later I will change. Click 0. Click 0. Enter. So now I am checking the properties of this feature line. PR. See, the name is F1. The second feature line I'm selecting. The feature line name is feature line 1. So this one, how to create the feature line. The next one, editing feature lines. Editing feature line. Now I'm gonna show you how to edit this feature line. For example, whenever we click here, we can see the feature line properties. Feature line properties and edit feature line style. These both are the same option which I explained previously. For example, feature line properties, it is the same thing which I show you previously. Okay, but the reaching approach is a little bit different here. And edit feature style, it is also the same thing which I show you previously. The difference is from here, this detail is only for specific for this feature line. Okay, the next one is geometry and edit elevations. Whenever we uncheck these options, we cannot see any more the detail here. For example, I want to edit the geometry, click here. Here we can see the multiple options. And for example, I want to edit the elevation, so we can see the multiple options here also. Geometry editing mean horizontally editing and the elevation editing mean vertically editing. So here I am going to explain few options. For example, I want to insert a PI point. If we bring the mouse here, it is showing us the point. Okay, for example, I want to add a vertex here. So you guys can see it is showing me the elevation. I'm keeping the same elevation, enter. Okay, so I want to add, for example, another, click here and enter. You guys can see now we can add the PI point like this. Now I am gonna delete these points, click here, delete PI, click, click on PI which you want to delete, right click, enter. So there are multiple options which is same like a polyline. For example, we can break it, we can trim it, we can join it, something like this. Reverse option is there. For example, this curve option, edit this curve option. For example, we have this curve, I want to edit this curve, click on curve. Okay, I can increase the radius, for example 29, or decrease the radius of this also. Okay, and I can delete the curve also. Click on delete, click on curve, so delete, Control Z. So from here I can break the feature line. See, click here. So now we have two feature lines. Okay, Control Z. The same thing here, we can trim this line because the normal trim option is not working on this feature lines. For example, I'm giving you one example, TR. See, it is not working. So for that I need to use the trim command. Select the feature line, click here, right click and click here. So you guys can see like this we can trim the feature line. So the similar we can join it also. It is the reverse options, we can reverse it also. It is the offset options, so we can make the offset of the feature line also. The next one is elevation editor. We have 1 2 3 4 points we have. I'm gonna open the elevation editor window, click here. You can see here we have the starting stations elevation, length, grade, okay, etc. We can bring more detail also, grade, length, grade break. So for example, I want to give the elevation to the first point 1.1, the second 1.6, the third one I want to give 1.2, and the fourth point elevation. Whenever I click here, you guys can see the vertex has been highlighted. So I want to change the last point elevation to 1.3. Okay, so these are the points which we have in this feature line horizontally and vertically both. For example, if I want to move, it is possible to move horizontally. Okay, Control Z. For example, I want to add the elevation here. Okay, so that will be only the vertically vertex. We will not be able to move horizontally. For example, insert elevation point. Click here, click here. You guys can see it is showing me the elevation with the interpolation. Click here, enter. You guys can see here the elevation has been added. Enter. So now it is vertically vertex but not horizontally. We cannot move horizontally this one now. So for example, from here I want to delete, I can delete back also. Similar options here. Okay, quick elevation editing. For example, I need to change the elevation. Click here. I want to give the elevation 1.3. You guys can see now it is changed to 1.3. Like this we can change the quick elevation. And whenever we bring the mouse here, it is showing me the grade. So click here. I want to give the slope 2%. So now you guys can see it is showing me the slope 2%. Control Z. Here in the feature line editor, I am going to explain something more. For example, I want to relate this feature line to a surface. So I can select from here the surface. This time I don't have the surface. So I'm going to leave like this. Okay. So these details for this feature line. For example, I need this line detail. What I'm gonna do, select here and click on the feature line. So now these details are for this feature line. Okay, there are more few options I'm gonna explain. Then I will go to the next topic. Zoom out. This option, for example, I want to zoom in the selected feature line. Click here. So the selected feature line will be appear. The next option is quick profile. With this option we can create a quick profile of this feature line. For example, I want to create the profile of this feature line. So quick profile. From here we can edit the view. From here we can edit the view profile style. I'm gonna leave as it is. This topic I will cover in the profile session, because the profile view style editing is same for all the Civil 3D. For example, for the profile, and this one is the style for the line. Okay, I will explain this one also later on in the profile session. Whenever I am explaining the profile, then I will explain these two topics. For the time being, I'm gonna leave like this. Okay, click here. So you guys can see the profile has been created. The profile view is not proper. We can edit like this from here. This topic I will cover in the profile session, that how we will change the profile visualization. Okay, click here. So the next is rise and lower. Okay, we can make it lower and rise entire this feature line. Okay, for that click here. In this box we can give the value. For example, I want this feature line should be upper 5 meter. Mention 5 meter here and click this arrow. Now you guys can see the elevation has been changed. The same case for the lowering, I'm keeping the same value. Click here. You guys can see the level has been changed. Okay, and these are the same editing options here. Okay, so now the next is feature line styles and label. So for example, I'm gonna change this style. Okay, for that click here, click on feature line properties. From here we can see two options: feature line properties. From here we have multiple line styles by default. For example, I want to change, select here. Okay, you guys can see the style has been changed.